Well, we made it to Daytona Beach, out on the beach, and in this episode, I guess you could say it's an FAQ. Does the two-wheel drive actually work? Well, we ventured out onto Daytona Beach with a two-wheel drive Patrol, which is the green rig, my wife's, and this black one is a one-wheel drive Tourist. Now, this seemed like a great idea at first, and everything seemed fine. We were in the well-trafficked, hard-packed sand, didn't seem to have any trouble, and headed on down the beach. At first, I thought this was just a great adventure and a great idea, but as things wore on, it became more of an exercise and a realization that yes, two-wheel drive does actually help. Now, while we're cruising along the beach here, I'll take a moment to update you on our trip. As you know, if you've watched the entire series to this point, we left out of Jackson, Georgia. We went all the way down to Hollapal. We got a new clutch, put in the 2010 Patrol. From there, we went on down through Okeechobee and over to Naples, where we experienced our Airbnb adventure for the first time. That worked out great. And from Naples, we went on down, had an airboat adventure, ended up in Key Largo. From Key Largo, we rode all the way down to Key West, had a good time, came all the way back up, and then the day before we videoed this, we actually came from Key Largo up to Daytona Beach, and we decided to take I-95 for that adventure. It was early on a Sunday morning when we left out, and fortunately it was very clear. We had no problems with the trip up. Now notice this exit off of the beach here to the right. Should have taken that. Should have gotten off the beach, but no, we just kept going. So if you want to ride on the beach, I suggest that you do use a two-wheel drive Patrol if you want to go out on a Ural or a Gear Up or one of the models that do have the two-wheel drive. Because the one-wheel drive was on the hard pack just fine, but if it got soft even just a little bit, well, you'll see what happens. Now, back to the interstate adventure. I got some flack off of that last video about riding a Ural on the interstate and how dangerous it is and how impossible it is to make evasive maneuvers above 50 miles per hour on a Ural, and how you should only ever go slow on them. And, you know, guys, it's up to you the level of risk that you want to take in life. A life with no risk I don't call a life, but I really don't call this a risk either. Evasive maneuvers on any motorcycle is difficult. It's about knowing the rig. If you're an inexperienced rider and you take a Honda Goldwing out on the interstate, well, guess what? Yeah, we passed another exit there. But guess what? You're going to have a bad time. You're not going to know how to handle that rig, and you are going to make mistakes. And if evasive maneuvers are needed, you're not going to know how to do them. And the same thing applies to a Ural with any sidecar rig. Believe me, there are a lot of sidecar rigs out there running around at 60, 65, 70 miles an hour, faster than I like to run. And it's about the level of risk that you're comfortable with and the adventure that you want to take. So here we are pulling off. We're going to park now and enjoy the beach for a little bit. So enjoy the interaction here as we learn a lesson.
In September, long sleeves.
At the beach, long sleeves, boots. Yeah, we fit the part.
Yeah.
This is the way to visit the beach, though. Bring your motorcycle right out onto the sand, park. This is the way to do it. I like this. And all I have to say about that right now is, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Go get a two-wheel drive and come back. I wonder who made these burnout marks here in the sand in two-wheel drive. Who could have done that? Who's been itching to find a reason to use that two-wheel drive?
I don't know.
But it works. And I'm about to wish I had it too. Now somebody's cheating. Somebody's cheating. You're just supposed to back up. I guess I'll help you cheat. You want to go first in case I had to push? I gotta watch her get out first because I may have to push.
You're gonna have to push.
Now remember, you're in two-wheel drive, so turning will be fun.
Alright, all I gotta do is back straight in.
Yep. Once you get back there to the packed sand, you'll be fine. I've only got one-wheel drive, so I'm gonna have a tough time. Truer words have not been spoken.
Ready?
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Just keep it going. I better stand out of the direction of the sand. There you go. Oh. Now you're dragging your front wheel.
I know it. Now just slide them down.
Well, we got it out. Wasn't too bad, just had to drive it forward actually. Whip it around and keep going. It's just something about backing up. The gear ratio in reverse gets to spinning before it starts pulling. So anyway, we're good. Now it is my turn to leave. So confidently I fire up the rig and start trying to back up. That didn't work out, so I thought, well, yeah, maybe if I can rock it out of this hole I've dug and back out into the hard sand, I can do it. No, that didn't work. So finally, my wife walked all the way back and she pushed, and I had dug out a little ramp in the back, and we were able to push it out to get it back onto the hard sand.
There you go.
Now we're good. Stay in the hard sand.
Yeah.
Good? Alright. You can leave it in two-wheel drive. Of course, K28 tires may have a little to do with it. They are highway tires, not off-road. Well, I think I can let you enjoy some video of us riding down the beach here. I've got the tub cam running facing forward. It was a kind of an overcast day. It looked like some rain might come in, and in fact the rain may have helped. It may have firmed the sand up for us, but at this point I was thinking, did pretty good, got out of the sand there no problem. So I let this exit here go by, and in retrospect I should not have. I should have taken every opportunity to take that exit, and I didn't. And you'll notice the sand here, you know, it got looser, and then just couldn't go anymore. Basically it grabbed the right wheel on the sidecar and pulled me around, and this was one of probably 5 or 6 times that this happened. I didn't put it in all the video here, but it's obvious I'm not going to get out of this, so we had to start coming up with a plan B. Time to get off and do something about
it. 1, roll. 1, 2. Nope.
Hold on.
She ain't going.
Thought I had it in neutral.
Well, that would help.
There, now let's try it.
Ready? 1. Nope, she ain't going.
Okay, well, you got your strap? And the plan at this point was to use the Patrol. We had a strap with us just in case, and we were going to use that for leverage to help pull us out. But before we got to do that, a gentleman walking along the beach gave us a hand, and we were able to do it without having to use the rig.
Don't pull on this, because this
is not
just pull right here.
Solid here?
Yes.
And rock it. There we go.
Yeah, with these things, it's a suggestion as to where you want to go on sand. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good now. You know where the next exit is down there?
You know my friend did that.
And if you happen to be watching, thank you so much for the help getting the rig out. We greatly appreciate it. And I was beginning to wonder if I was not going to get stuck again very, very soon, while my wife just effortlessly and smugly rides off down the beach with her two-wheel drive patrol. I did manage to get it going. At this point, my game plan completely changed. It was about getting to the next exit and leaving the beach as quickly as I could. You can see I'm struggling a little bit to get it to go, but I finally did. And somehow, even though we have communication in our helmets, we didn't somehow communicate this with each other. My plan is to get my speed up. If I slow down to the 10, less than 15 mile an hour especially, I just fall in the sand and get stuck. So I'm trying to go on and go so we can get off the beach, and here she is just meandering down the beach like it's some vacation holiday drive along the strip of beach on her patrol. I'm sure she was looking all smug at the same time, and here I am struggling just to keep this rig going. But I will say that if you do go out on the beach, make sure you take a little shovel or something with you. Stay on the hard packed sand. A two-wheel drive is highly advisable. And I think the reason is the right hand wheel on hers is driving. It's actually applying power. And that in combination, it just went forward. It didn't have any trouble. There was no unusual force on it. But my rig with one-wheel drive is having to drag that right-hand wheel through the sand, and any little bit of drag and resistance there, it's having to pull it through. It pulls the rig down and torques it sideways to kind of slow you down enough that you get hung up in the sand, and then you can't get free and start going again. So yeah, two-wheel drive definitely has its place. I'm still not convinced that it's something that I necessarily need. If I'm going to spend most of my time on the highway, it's just not that big of a deal not to have the two-wheel drive. But yeah, in fact, this is the only time we've used the two-wheel drive other than to test it on the patrol. This is the only time we've ever had to use it. And we've been down dirt roads, a lot of different places, but the beach definitely needed it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and give us a like and a subscribe to see more that's coming. From here we head on up the east coast a little bit. We got to ride in almost hurricane strength winds. At least it felt like hurricane strength winds. The rain was impressive. We got soaking wet even in our rain gear. As you can see, I'm bogging down again as I had to slow down and go through the signs there. I'm starting to get a little worried that I may get stuck again. So at this point I actually moved down the beach intentionally to get to where the waves were coming in and the sand was harder. And my sole focus now is let's just get off the beach. But yeah, subscribe and like the videos. Let us know what you think. Leave some comments, ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Finally an exit. Let's get off the beach, go get something to eat, and head back to the hotel.